If you guys are active in discussions surrounding Knights of the Old Republic 1, I bet you often hear harsh comments about Bastila, calling her an idiot, being a tier C waifu who is immature and overbearing. And I get that, but I feel that she still does have her own merit as a character. So that's what we're gonna talk about here today. And if you're new to the channel and would like to see more things related to Star Wars, the Old Republic, and artificial intelligence, do check out the rest of the channel. In Knights of the Old Republic, Bastila Shan is introduced as this Jedi with a very potent ability known as Battle Meditation, which enabled her to turn the tides of entire battles, be it between armies or fleets. This made her a very crucial asset for the Jedi and the Republic in the ongoing war, and it made her a really lucrative target for the Sith to capture, and hopefully turn her to the dark side. At this point in time, the Jedi and the Republic were still recovering from the Mandalorian Wars. Some might even say the Exar Kun Wars 40 years earlier. Who knows how many Jedi who had followed Revan into war and returned home in body bags or as casualties. Even though the Republic was victorious, the tactics employed by Revan were attritional and often brutal, and it definitely has taken a toll on the Jedi's numbers, especially amongst the younger generation who would probably had just been knighted or were under the tutelage of a master. It was no wonder that the Jedi had gotten desperate in this current situation, having to employ Padawans into combat situations, not unlike other wars we have seen. It's a lot of responsibility for someone of her age, even for one with such potential as hers. She just hasn't had the time to actually live longer and see things in hindsight, or to develop a certain wisdom, so you shouldn't be so hard up on her immaturity. The exact age that Bastila was taken away from her family was never explicitly mentioned in KOTOR 1, but I would say it was rather late compared to many other Padawans, because she was at an age that she still had memories of her life before the Order, enough for her to have fond memories of her father, and to develop a certain bitterness against her mother. Regardless, being taken away from your family right when you are in the middle of what could be an awesome childhood is traumatizing to say the least. And you can tell that she's rather pained when she talks about it in her companion dialogue. Despite whatever she says about the importance of the Jedi not having such attachments, being above emotions, being willing to sacrifice their own interests for the greater good and for the purpose of the galaxy and all that. Even though she can say it with an air of conviction, not questioning the wisdom of the masters, there is still something in her somewhere that feels conflicted about that. And that in itself is the issue with the Jedi at this point in time. The masters are arrogant and think they are always right. They believe Revan was wrong. Even if he had good intentions to fight the Mandalorians, he fell to the dark side because he didn't listen to them and all that. Even if Bastila felt that there was supposed to be some other perspective, she was never offered any alternative other than what was taught to her by the Jedi, and that was what she had to cling to all the time. So you can't really blame her for lecturing you so much about the dark side or about Jedi doctrines. When we first meet Bastila on Taris, she's a rather overbearing commanding officer who seems to be full of herself, berating the men under her command for making a mess and thinking that her mere presence alone would solve the problem that they currently face, getting off Taris. And after that, when she's entrusted to help you in your mission to find the Star Forge, she becomes an annoying companion who attempts to continue lecturing you about the dark side and its dangers. Really, Bastila? But see, that's the thing. Her whole arc in Knights of the Old Republic is her maturing as an individual, Jedi or not. Remember what I said earlier about her believing that the Jedi should not have any attachments? Her companion mission is precisely going against that. She establishes contact with her mother again, finds out that her father is dead, and is forced to make a choice to reconcile with that very person she has grown to hate. In the later dialogue, she even admits that her mannerism is taciturn, and she should learn to embrace caring for others who need her help rather than keeping them at arm's length. In fact, she's offered that very alternative perspective that she was looking for all those years at the end of the game. Not that the principles that the Jedi preached were wrong. The things about the Force, of good and evil, those were fine. But it is the way that they were put into practice that she learned to question after her experiences. In the end, despite whatever character flaws she may have had at the beginning of the game, even though they were annoying, they were meant to draw out her character up to make her a relatable person. Other than a few cameos in Knights of the Old Republic 2, Bastila only makes another appearance in Star Wars media in the Revan SWTOR novel. The Star Wars Old Republic MMORPG is a thorn in the side of many fans of the original KOTOR games. And while that book was written in mind to fit the plot of that game, rather than respecting the legacy of the Old Republic, I feel that that's the only thing we've gotten out of Star Wars that explores Bastila's later life, her relationship with Revan, her love, and the fact that she's willing to stand up against the very masters she once blindly followed for her husband. I mean, can you imagine her just scolding the likes of Master Rook and Vanda? And at the end of the novel, we see another glimpse of her old life. A wife who knew her husband left to save the galaxy from an unknown threat. And a proud mother who single-handedly raised a rather competent man who serves on the Galactic Senate as a politician, as his father once served on the battlefield as a Jedi. She's gone through so much over the years, from her days as a naive Padawan on Dantooine, and I think that she deserves more credit than many people would want to give her, other than being the poster girl for Knights of the Old Republic. And in fact, I would actually think that she deserves far more recognition than Bastila Shan. Bastila's story was written in a time when games had meaning to them. I'm not saying that Star Wars The Old Republic is any worse, but Bastila certainly doesn't have that much depth as compared to Bastila Shan. In the end, while she may be that annoying woman that nobody can stand at the beginning of the game, Bastila still remains, in my opinion, as one of the best female characters in Star Wars thus far. And I believe that many of the criticisms about her mannerism overlook the fact that it is her character that's written in this way, which adds all the more to the entire story element of the role-playing game that we love, which is Knights of the Old Republic. And that's it for this video. What do you think personally of Bastila? Is she a rather annoying person? Or do you just like her because Jennifer Hale voices her? Let me know down in the comments. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you always. Cheers.